Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. In my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes. Taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great. Popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la.
Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. This is CreativePro, and I am Khara Plicanic, and we are so glad you are here joining us today. Oh, it's Thursday already. That is wild. Today we are going to be talking about processing photos in Bridge, and we were chatting in the chat here. Oh my gosh, Jan is here too. Wow, this is a party. Um we were just chatting in the chat about like how people generally process their images, and I would love to know where everybody's at. Are you using Bridge to process your stuff, or are you jumping over to Lightroom? Let us know, and we will talk about it. I want to take a minute too to let everybody know that we do a lot of this stuff here at Creative Pro. Have you checked out our YouTube channel? We have a number of streams in our library. In addition to all of the YouTube stuff that we do, we also do events. And one of our next events is the Design and Marketing Summit. And this is an online event. So you can join us and tune in from anywhere in the world. It is happening September 14th and 15th. And you can save $100 with the code livestream over at creativepro.com/events. So I just want to put that out there and invite you to join us. I'm going to be teaching a session. The lineup of speakers is incredible, and it's going to be a really good time. So I invite you to check it out. Okay. Let's see. Well, let's pop over in the chat and see what kind of questions and comments we've got going on in here. I see Alan is here. Hey, Alan. Alan says, heck yeah, he uses Bridge. I know you do, Alan. You could also be teaching this session today. We're keeping today pretty simple because I wasn't sure where everyone would be coming from. But I know Alan, IRL, and as well as Teresa, and they are both amazing artists and creatives and creative professionals. So I'm excited they're here because they can also help answer questions in the chat. So this will be good. Teresa says, editing is fun. It's the file management that is a pain. Lightroom Classic helps keep Teresa organized. I can see that. Yeah, I would love to know, Teresa, like your thoughts on Lightroom and Lightroom Classic and how Lightroom helps you stay organized. Because obviously it does that, but it can also, I feel like it also made me like afraid to move stuff, or like, I don't know, I was always afraid of messing up the link in the catalog there. But yeah, so let's get into it. Before we jump right into Bridge, we should probably talk about the difference between Lightroom and Bridge because there is a lot of overlap. But they're completely different, okay? So Lightroom is a database, and it helps you manage huge volumes of images. And no matter whether those images are on an extended external drive or they're on your local machine, they are handled in what's called a catalog. So I like to think back to those library days where we had cards and every book on the shelf had a card that lived in the card catalog. Who remembers this? Before it was digital, if you wanted a book, you had to go like find the book in the card catalog, and that would tell you where the book is on the shelf. And Lightroom is the same way. So to use Lightroom, you have to import your images into Lightroom. That doesn't mean they're stored in Lightroom. It just means Lightroom indexes them and knows where they are. It builds the card catalog. But then you can use Lightroom to edit your images. Bridge is very similar in that we can use it to edit our images, but it's different in that it's simply a browser. So Bridge is not keeping track of your images. If you move an image, Bridge doesn't care. It's not going to warn you. It's not going to say, hey, that drive that had all of those project photos is now unplugged. What'd you do with it? It's not going to do that. It is simply showing you what's on your system or what's on your drive or whatever it is you're trying to look at, right? So it's a browser. So in that sense, Bridge is more like Finder on the Mac or Windows Explorer on a PC. However, it's also like Lightroom because it's super powerful, and you can use Camera Raw, which is also part of Bridge, also part of Lightroom, also part of Photoshop, but also part of Bridge. You can use Camera Raw to process your images right in Bridge without having to deal with the whole database situation. So, yeah, there's no right or wrong, right? All of this stuff is like personal preference and just what you prefer, or what Gobo 12 was saying about whatever the team is most comfortable working with. So, yeah, I'm going to give you a little preview today of sort of a general high level view of how these things work in Bridge. And it'll be another tool to have in your tool belt. And you can use it wherever and however you see fit. So, that said, let's get into this here. So this is how I like to have my Bridge workspace set up, but whoop, obviously you can do whatever works for you. Let's make this big. How about it? All right. So I like to have it set up this way, and I have my main viewing panel here. I like to have my favorite folders open and a few extra panels. So if we go to the window menu under workspace, the default workspace is essentials. So I'm going to reset this. So this is maybe what it looks more like if you are just coming straight out of the box, if you've never opened Bridge. I should also point out that Bridge is a free app. Even if you're not a Creative Cloud subscriber, you can download and fully use Bridge 100% for free. So that is another consideration, because even to use Lightroom requires a subscription, but Bridge is just free. So that's another great thing about it. It is one of my favorite apps, but it doesn't always get the love that I think it deserves. But I know some of you agree. I know Alan and Teresa would back me up on that. Okay, so this is basically what it looks like. And of course, like any Adobe app, you can customize it all. So like I like to have these things closed, pretty much all of these. And then I like to save this workspace as my personal favorite workspace. Okay. The one thing too that I don't think is actually part of the default, I could be wrong, but I don't think it used to be, is this path bar up here. So if you're new to Bridge and you don't see this path bar, it's under the window menu. You can come down and choose path bar. So because Bridge is a browser, you can access your entire hard drive and any drives connected to your system. I also have my Dropbox in here. So even my cloud drives, I can access from here within Bridge. And it's helpful to get around to have this path bar open. So I always can see where I am by following the breadcrumbs up here. And I have my favorites folder where I just put all the folders that I use all the time. Okay, so I have this little collection of garden images, and I downloaded these all from Unsplash, and we'll just pretend that these are garden images we got for maybe a client project that we need to take care of. So I just wanted to walk you through some of these basic steps, right? So once we get our images on our computer somewhere in a client folder, probably, one of the things I like to do is rename them, right? Because they're all named with the photographer who captured them, but I want to maybe add to that or replace it completely. So I'm just going to select all of these. And if we come up to the tool menu, there's batch rename right here. And this is so great and powerful. One, you can create and save presets. So if you use the same sort of naming conventions all the time, that can be really helpful. Here, I'm just going to tell it to rename them in the same folder. And here's where we can tell it how we want those names to be structured. So if I clean all of this out, so we just have, let's say, one item, maybe we want that to be a sequence number, and we can say how many digits we want it to have, what number we want it to start with, and then it shows us down here what that new file name would be. So here's the current file name, has the photographer's name and some sort of serial number, and then Unsplash, and it would be renamed to just 01.jpg. But we can do more than that. We can click this little plus right here, and maybe we want to add, in addition to the sequence number, maybe we want to add some text. And then we can put in our client name or whatever, like garden project. And maybe we want the text to be first, so I'm going to drag it to the top. So each image is going to get renamed with the text followed by a 2-digit numerical sequence. So we can check down here that now the new file would be garden_project 01 JPEG. So maybe I'm going to add another little underscore here just to space that out. And then that looks good. So let's go ahead and hit rename. And ta-da, right? I don't think you can do that so nicely in Finder. Maybe they've changed it, but last time I tried to rename a batch of things in Finder, it got all messed up. And the sequencing was a problem, and there were parentheses involved and all of that. So not my favorite. Okay, so another neat thing about Bridge is we can, of course, edit the metadata associated with these files. And what's really cool, and I think that Bridge is actually the only place where we can universally apply alt text to our images. If you guys know another way, let us know in the comments. But I think Bridge is the only place where you can add alt text to your project. So if we select all these, I'm going to go to, no, I'm not. I'm going to stay in my essentials, but I'm going to open up my metadata window. And if we scroll down and we look under, I think it's IPTC core right here, there is a field for alt text. So this is an accessibility feature that allows screen readers to know the contents of an image, and it can be pulled for so many things. So this right here, this little alt text field is a really great place where we can apply alt text to all of this. Obviously, we wouldn't want to do this as a batch because each image should have its own custom alt text, but this is where you can apply it. So you could go through and add that in. And the nice thing is, if you are working with these images in InDesign, for example, InDesign has the ability to slurp whatever you put in the alt text field here, and it can be slurped into lots of different places, and that can be a huge time saver. So rather than having to manage alt text in, I don't know where, spreadsheets or wherever, you can just put it in the metadata right here in Bridge, and then it gets baked into that file, and it will travel with that file wherever it goes, which is a huge, huge consideration. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Also, if you are a photographer and these or are your images, or maybe they're all from a particular photographer, and maybe, they had the date and time wrong and all that stuff in their camera, you can edit that too under the edit menu. You can come down here and edit capture time. So maybe that doesn't matter, but also maybe it does. It just depends on your work and what you're doing. I know as a photographer, I shot a lot of portraits and a lot of weddings. And when I was working with second shooters, it was really important to adjust the capture time. Even if the other photographer's camera was set correctly, we would always take a sync shot at the beginning so that we could align our times exactly in post-production. So whether that was in Lightroom or also you can do it in Bridge, it would just allow us to make sure that things weren't like off by even, 5 seconds or something. Because in a event like a wedding, that can just be weird. You can get like a weird mix of images when the timing is off. So that is another great feature I just want to point out. All right, so we've got these in here. We've got them renamed. Maybe we added some alt text or other metadata, and we have adjusted the time or anything if we need to. And then let's just say we're ready to do some editing to these. So some of these are really nice and warm. Like I'm looking at this image here. So nice. And it's got a lot of yellows and oranges. And some of these are much more blue, like this one, blue and green. So maybe for the use that I'm thinking of for these images, I want to do a slight color grade to some of these. So let's just pick one to start with, and we'll go over to Edit, no, File, Open in Camera Raw, or you can press Command or Control R. Now this is going to launch the Camera Raw workspace, and this is where it really becomes much like Lightroom. So whether you are working in Camera Raw in Bridge or in Lightroom or in Photoshop, it's going to be familiar. You know what this looks like if you have done this before. If you're totally new to this, this will not be a deep dive on Camera Raw. Teresa, you'd be great at doing that. We should get you on a live and I'll produce it for you and you can teach Camera Raw. But the concept is that just like in Lightroom, we have a number of different settings over here, right? So this first run right here, these are our edit settings. So we can go through here and adjust different categories of things like lighting, color, different lens effects, etc. This is deep. So we don't want to get lost in all of this, but I think I'm just going to do some color adjustments, maybe warm this up a little bit. We'll boost the vibrance. Let's see. Let's take our shadows and drag those a little towards more the oranginess, just to warm that up. Highlights a little bit. I don't know, something like this. We're just doing this as a little demo. Okay. I am feeling like that's going to be pretty good for that. So when we have made our adjustments, then we can come down here and we can click done. And just like you would see in Lightroom, we get some sort of notification that those changes they've been made, and we'll see them in the little preview here. So if I tap the space bar, I get an instant full screen preview and we can see the changes applied here. But if I were to open this file in Finder, for example, we will not see them. So let's actually, if we right click on it, we can go over to reveal this file in Finder. And so here it is, and the actual JPEG has not been altered. So if I press spacebar to get a preview of this, it's not changed, right? And that is part of the beauty of Camera Raw, whether you're doing it in Bridge or with Photoshop or in Lightroom. Those changes are being saved and they're in a non-destructive way. So we see that there's something going on here because of this little icon lets us know. but the actual file's not been edited yet, which is pretty cool. So now we can do a couple of things. If we right click on this image and we come down here to develop settings, we can copy those same settings, and maybe we want to apply them pretty much almost to all of these. Let's see, let's do it to these few real quick. So now I've selected these images, and we can right click and go to develop settings, and we can paste. We can specify what factors we want to include in our paste. And I think this looks good. So you can check and uncheck all that stuff, and we'll click OK. And you see they now all have that little icon up here, and we can see that they have been edited. So I think that's actually pretty good. I probably want to apply that to almost every image in here. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Select all these images. We'll go to develop settings and paste and click OK. And now all of these images have that grading and color adjustment applied to them. So that is a super quick and dirty, easy way to do this. Let's see. I'm curious to know how this compares with how you guys like to work. Let's pop over to the chat and see what's going on. Oh, nice. So Alan says the first thing he did when Bridge got configurable keyboard shortcuts was make a shortcut for show items from subfolders. Yes, Alan, thank you. I definitely want to showcase that feature. So thank you for the reminder. I'm curious, Alan, since we have you here and I know that you are a Bridge ninja, and it's so great that we can configure our shortcuts in Bridge now, but you know what is somehow excluded from that is the place in InDesign feature. So we'll talk about it. But let's see. Oh, I like that Don B. Ravensbrook said same. And boy, this is sure a really popular feature. Hi, Jan. Good to see you here. Jan's also favorite feature is show items from subfolders. I love that. Jenny says that she's not using Bridge but wants to. Well, welcome, Jenny. We support you in that choice. And I will say that here on CreativePro's YouTube channel, if you go into the live section, I did a whole 1 hour live not that long ago on like my top features in Bridge. So if you are new and you want to just like learn Bridge in general, I highly recommend you go back and check out that live stream because it was pretty good. And we covered a lot of the basics that would be really useful for anybody who is new to that. So that reminds me, let's talk about that feature that everyone was mentioning in the chat. So under the view menu, is it under view menu? Where is it? Show. Oh yeah, here. I don't have any subfolders, so I can't. I'll demo this in a minute in a different. I also don't want to create a catastrophe here. That some of these are so massive. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a great example of this, but what it does is if I had folders in here, let's make one folder, and let's say we drag these images into it. So now if we're in this this folder and for whatever reason I've got some stuff over here, we want to be able to see them all in one place so that we're not having to go to this folder and then pop into this folder and look here and then back up and then look somewhere else. So once you navigate to like the highest level that you want to view, then you can come up here and choose view show items from subfolders. And now we can see this folder, but we can also see the images that are in it and all of the images in the parent folder at once. And this is really cool. You can also choose whether you want this option to be sticky or not. I think that's done in your preferences. However, obviously, if you have that on all the time, then you sort of lose the value that the folders provide. So it's probably best to not have it set on all the time, but I do love the idea of making it a keyboard shortcut. So when you want it, you can just hit that keyboard shortcut and it pops up. I'm curious, Alan, what you use for the keyboard shortcut, as you know, it's hard to find keyboard shortcuts that are available and make sense. So let us know in the chat what you use for that. And I'm going to move these back to garden pegs. That's one of my favorite features also about Bridge, is just like it's so easy to move stuff and get around and view things. And one of my other things too that I really love is if I have a file that's in Dropbox, I can view it here in Bridge. The only thing you can't do is access the Dropbox link. So that's another great thing about being able to right click and choose Reveal in Finder, because then I can go to Finder, and if I'm in Dropbox, which this is not, but if it were, then I could right click and copy Dropbox link. So I still get all my Dropbox hits while being here in Bridge. All right, so that is a look at how we would quickly apply these edits. You can do all kinds of other things if you want to compare shots, one shot to another and all of that. But I'd be curious to know, let me know in the chat, those of you who do use Lightroom and also use Bridge, do you do a lot of comparing of your images in Bridge, or are you mostly, when you're doing like that much stuff, are you saving it for Lightroom? I'm curious. I find that I don't use that feature in Bridge. I would do that kind of thing in Lightroom, but you know, also the way that I work's changed over the years and the work that I do has changed. So, yeah, it's just interesting, but I would love to know. Okay. Let's see. So let's say that we have all these images now. They've had these settings, some development settings applied to them in a sidecar file. So again, if we look at these in Finder or we open it outside of Photoshop or whatever, it's not going to have this information. It's not going to have those edits. So in order to get the edits that we made to be applied to the files, we need to process them. And we could process them and keep everything the same, just like literally open them and have them go through that sequence and then export the finished files somewhere else. But let's also resize them at the same time. So I'm going to select all of these here, and we're going to come up to Tools, Photoshop, and we're going to come down to the image processor. And this is where I was saying, unless something's updated and I haven't checked, but you can't go to File, Place in InDesign and make that a Bridge level keyboard shortcut. I have a shortcut here, but I created this in Mac's OS. Like, I forget what I used. Whatever shortcut builder thing in Mac, but because I couldn't actually go into the keyboard shortcuts for Bridge and actually create one there. So that's weird. But maybe they've fixed it. All right. So we're going to we're going to process all these. Let's go to Tools, Photoshop, Image Processor. And here step one would be to select all the images, but because we accessed this via Bridge and I've already selected those images, we can skip that step. So love that. Step two is to tell Photoshop and Bridge where we want these files saved. And I'm going to just save them in the same location. It will always make a subfolder. So you do not have to worry that it will overwrite your originals. So I'm not even going to bother making a subfolder because Bridge will do it for me. So I'm just going to choose save in same location. And if you do tell it to make a a subfolder or whatever, it will do that, but it will still put all of the files in another subfolder. So just know that. Okay, down here we can tell it how we want it to be saved as JPEG or PSD or TIFF. So I'm going to go with a JPEG. We'll say quality 10, and I'm going to resize it to be 500 pixels on its longest side. So we can put 500 by 500 pixels here, and you can rest assured it is not going to squish your image into a square. It will take the longest side, and if that's the width, it'll set that longest side to 500, and if it's the height, it'll set that to 500. And here's also what's nice. Down here, if we had an action that we wanted to run on these, so maybe, you have a sharpening action that you love, or you have a logo you want to add to everything, or some sort of image frame or watermark or whatever, you can come down here and choose to run an action at the same time. So I'm not going to do that, but you could if you want to. And then you just hit run. And then it's going to process. So it's going to open all of these and apply our settings. And then you can see them coming in here. And then it's putting them in this folder that it made called JPEG. So if we go back up, here's our garden pics folder. And it made this folder called JPEG. That is why I don't bother making a subfolder, but I might want to rename it after the fact. So maybe if we come up here, maybe we rename this to web proofs or something. Okay. And there we go. There they all are. And now if we tap on them and hit the space bar, we can see that the preview is much smaller because this image has been resized. Awesome. Let's see what is popping in the chat. I love that. Oh, this is so great. Wait a minute, Dawn. You said you made a shortcut to place in InDesign? Did you do it through Bridge? Did they update that? Because I'll show you guys when we go back. I'll show you where you can find your keyboard shortcuts in Bridge, and it literally was not an option. Maybe they updated it. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about with the adjusting the timer. If you have a photo shoot with multiple cameras, you can arrange the images in Bridge by time and then batch rename them so that their sequence matches their actual capture time. So they're in chronological order. Yes. So good point. Because if you are going to rename them, you would want to sort them by capture time first. Yes. Oh, thank you, Erica. Yeah, so the Bridge live stream that I did in the past was called The One Tool Every Creative Needs. So that can help you find it if you are looking. Oh, yes, this is nice too. Alan, I'm so glad you're here. He's saying that batch rename is amazingly powerful because it respects how you have the files arranged and bridged, even if you've rearranged the files manually in an arbitrary order. Good point. So if you start dragging your files around, it will just respect that. So by default, you can sort by, date modified or file name or dimension, any number of attributes. But if you start manually adjusting it, then it just kind of says, oh, okay, you want to fly solo and do this your way? Fine. And it will respect that. And then you can rename it with that organization. Jan says she would use the compare in Lightroom. That's kind of what I thought. Once, if you're really getting into like looking at all of your images and you're, wanting to really go through and develop them as a photographer, working on all of your shots from a shoot, you probably would be in Lightroom. But as a production person or a designer, then I would be doing it in Bridge. That's so interesting. And yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So thanks for being here, Jan. And Alan says I use Control Shift S to bring up the subfolder command. That's a good one. Control or Command Shift S. So was it available or did you have to override something? I am curious. Wow. And Dawn says yes. Okay, we'll investigate this. So Dawn says that she was able to add the place in InDesign. I haven't checked in a while, but let's go see. Let's go check this out so we can see what everyone's talking about and where you would do that. So, let's see. That is under our Bridge settings. So you can press Command or Control K to bring that up. Oh no, that's wrong. Not under our settings, is it? It's under keyboard shortcuts. Under Edit menu, keyboard shortcuts. My bad. And right away it's like, what? This is a different screen than we see in any of the other apps when we are doing this. But this is nice. We can have a little tour here if we want. Panel shortcuts are up here. Oh my God, this is so confusing. Or you can look at a keyboard layout. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with that tutorial. Okay. So we are looking for file commands under file. Oh my gosh. Okay. But still, it doesn't show place. So this is the file menu and we don't have the place options. Am I missing it? Under the file menu. Okay, you're going to have to let me know, Dawn. What am I doing wrong? Or how am I missing it? Or how did you do this? Totally available. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do some more digging. Let's see. We can search for place. I wonder, Alan, you're on a PC. Dawn, are you also on a PC? Interesting. Because look at, even when I search for the place command, I don't have that option. Maybe it's a PC thing. Anyway, that's wild. That is wild. Yeah, well, I would love to know. But that's like the basics of how you would process your images in Bridge. So, in addition to just being a super amazing, hopefully you can hear me now. Weird. Erica says I was muted. Well, isn't that great? Oh, and So some people are on a PC, but also don't have that option. And some of you do, but I don't. That's crazy. All right. Gobo12, you say yep, yep. You can hear me now, I guess is what that means. Good. Oh, you guys, what other questions do you have or ways that you like to use Bridge? I mean, today's live stream is really just kind of about this process of just kind of dealing with the mechanical aspects of organizing our images, getting them out and into the world. So I would love to know how else you guys are doing that or what features you rely on the most. I'm like a really simple person. This is what I do. Like what I showed you guys of just basically in Bridge, the batch renaming. Um, you can also, if we go one of these, oh, we're looking at the exported ones. Right. So one file that's in here is this guy, and this is actually a PSD. And one of the things that I use all the time in Bridge is when I forgot to save something out as a JPEG, I am really grateful that I can just come in Bridge and I can like right click on this PSD and I can go to export to, and there's a number of presets, including one that I made that's just called make it a JPEG. And you know what's really cool? This works even from like an InDesign document. And now I'm not recalling if it does all the pages or probably just the cover, but it also works with Illustrator files. Like, it's awesome. Because how often, dear, do you have some kind of document like that and you're like, I just need this, you know, JPEG of it so I can drop it into whatever, a slide deck or something like that. So this is really, really helpful. There is also these quick actions up here. I'm curious how many of you use these. This will bring up Adobe Express. So for example, if we want to, let's say we want to crop this image. Oh, because it's a PSD, I guess it won't do it. Let's try this one. Quick actions. So I'm just right clicking on it and then I'm going to choose crop image. And yeah, see now it's pulling up a little Adobe Express workspace. So, and I guess I don't have it. So I can download it or open this in Adobe Express, but I don't think I would do it this way, but it's an option. So I'm curious how you guys would use that. Let's see what else. I see a question from Gobo12 is asking if there's a way to auto generate alt text in Bridge. Ooh, that's a great idea. I've not tried it. That would be super, wouldn't it? Probably. Maybe. Maybe it's coming. Alan, I feel like Alan would know. Do you know this? Um, Pam, hey, Pam says, I love batch renaming in Bridge. I feel you. Me too, right? It's the best. So many options. And Pam, I love your profile picture, your avatar or whatever. That's so cool. Okay, now I feel vindicated because Dawn says that now Dawn doesn't see it in their options either, but she's pretty sure that's how she did it. Maybe. I wonder if you also did it with like a OS level thing. So I'm curious, Alan, too. Alan is answering the question from Gobo12 about AI for alt text, and he says you can do it with a script pretty easily. Interesting. I think that they should really build that in as just a default. Alan, do you have a favorite script or source that you would recommend for that? That's pretty exciting. That's amazing, he says. It's amazing what you can vibe code. I love it. It is. It is. But that's good. That's a good thing. I would love to see that feature. It should be just built in. I know you can do that now, right? In InDesign, I believe. But of course, it's I suppose better than nothing, but also not as good as a human doing it because I suppose the AI doesn't know the context, but that's a whole other topic. And he says that he uses Gemini and Copilot. Nice. You're so good at all that stuff, Alan. And you would be so proud right now because I have the InDesign user group sticker on my laptop, but I can't show you because I'm using it. But now I have a little reminder of you every time I grab my computer. And how fun is that? All right, you guys. Well, this was lovely. It is always wonderful to be here and have these kinds of fun sessions and explore. I love hearing how people are using Bridge because it is just like a wrench, right? Like it's like such a handy tool. You can use it in so many different ways for so many different things. And today it was great to just talk through how we would do a quick little image adjustments, dealing with whatever we've got on our hard drive and taking advantage of those file renames and stuff, batch renaming. But yeah, if you're interested in just learning more about Bridge, specifically like how you might want to set it up and some of the best features, then check out our other live stream because we go into that a lot. So I also want to remind you once again to check out our design and marketing summit happening online from September 14th and 15th. So that's the kind of thing you can attend in your pajamas from home, and you can save $100 with the code livestream. All right, friends. Well, thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your Bridge wisdom in the chat. We can always learn from each other, and I know I appreciate it. And this is great. I love our CreativePro community. So thank you to you for being here and showing up and being part of this. Also, let us know in the chat what else you might like us to do on a live stream, because we can do whatever we want to help people, right? We aim to please. So let us know. And until next time, thank you for joining us, and I will see you then. Bye.